6 days after this marathon, I wasn't sure I should run more. But I made it, I think, because I had a theory that the right pace would hold everything together. The Marine Corps Marathon is known as the People's Marathon, and it has a very specific kind of energy. The sport itself has a strange history, but especially in the 90s, this specific event helped make the distance feel accessible to people who weren't just endurance athletes. At one point, even Oprah, yes, that Oprah, ran it at age 40, without walking, cameras on her the entire time, and she finished in 4 hours and 29 minutes, which is honestly impressive. And then, she immediately got a hamburger and never ran another marathon ever again. Meanwhile, I'm over here, bigger, about to hit the same age, and about to let Oprah Winfrey outpace me on the exact same course. Because speed isn't really the point of this run. Because I'm doing something even more foolish. If you watch the last video, you'll know I'm testing a theory that pacing a marathon by heart rate, roughly what runners call zone 3, instead of by speed, might help keep my body together across 65 miles of events. That's more than I've ever done. The idea is simple. You run hard enough to keep moving well, but not so hard that your joints, muscles, and connective tissue start filing formal complaints. Because, look, training is healthy, but racing is not. And in a schedule like this, a lot can go wrong. Talking more than shin splints, runner's knee, Achilles tendonitis, cramping, that classic mile 18 digestive betrayal, worse than that. But the best part of a good theory is also that it's falsifiable. Sometimes trying is going to be the best way to find out. Now, the Marine Corps Marathon gets its name for an obvious reason. It's organized and run by the United States Marines, which turn out to be a fantastic group of organizers. They are enthusiastic, they're professional, they're precise, and occasionally hilarious. If you are running this race, you will notice something unusual. The volunteers are uniformed Marines thanking you for participating, which feels like a role reversal. Especially there's a unique section called the Blue Mile. It's quieter. Along the course are photos and names of fallen service members, and that stretch is different than anything I've ever moved through. It's very sombering, less cheering, all respect. And the feeling of the race, especially that section, it changes with. Because look, let's be honest, whatever I'm doing out here, testing pacing theories, worrying about my joints, it shapes perspective pretty effectively. I'm glad to be able to. Now, the Marine Corps Marathon is also the third largest marathon in the United States after New York and Chicago, and it just does not need World Major Abbott status. There is no prize money here. No one takes this race for the cash. People run it because they can, and the Marines make sure the day is special. You will hear jokes, encouragement, concern, sometimes all in the same sentence, because Marines bring a culture. And I can honestly say I will never hear Semper Fi the same way again. Now, the course itself is a mix of green spaces, monuments, roads, DC city streets. The DC crowds are also just a little calmer than New York, but that is saying a lot.
What up, DC?
It's a massive event, even for that city. 250,000 people are out there excited that even if the government is on strike, we're all not. The vibe is pure enthusiasm. So for a while, everything felt good. But the plot twist for my race is that the pacing theory didn't really play out. In the first 45 minutes, which happens to be the steepest elevation grade, the most traffic, and the most pre-race energy, holding that pace just wasn't realistic. I got caught in a swell. But once things opened up, I had that instinct to slow down and actually use the system. And go into that for a quick bit, but I just want to say, trying to stay even in a medium heart rate zone for a whole marathon is an eye-opener. It is not as fun.
Okay, how are you feeling?
I'm a little bored. I wish this was more exciting. I don't want to be complaining. I feel good. I ran by 1,000 dead Marines. honorary, and it made me go, I'm not gonna bitch.
Part of this is also traveling. So you point out traveling for marathons, well, can sound fun because it really is, but there's also so many ways it can impact just basics of the routine, like sleep and your recovery. It's also much easier to structure race life at home. Travel races can make basic things harder. You might notice in this footage that I look a little bit more haggard, and that's not just me experimenting with GoPro's activity mode. There was also one mistake that's just completely on me. It's my shoes. I am a 6'4" heavier runner, and these had already survived 5 marathons and 6 halves. They were done. Standard advice says retire racing shoes around 100 miles, and don't think about how that might be $4 a mile if you happen to be paying retail for super shoes. But look, I was well past that. And I trusted the ones I had because they felt better than my backups in a try-on, and they've already been race tested. That turned out to be a bad idea. It's basic physics. I'm pretty sure the reduced bounce meant more impact than I realized. But I did do much better than surviving the Marine Corps 50th anniversary. I enjoyed a huge day. Very strong crowds, strong finish. It's really a special way to visit DC. And even if I can't rant about the food, there's something nice about a city where people cheer for the fact that you're running more consistently than the government. Now, with the pacing target, this ended up being the second slowest marathon that I've ever run. That does mean also I had plenty of time to think on course. And today, I feel differently today. I really do think that pacing strategy was essential to the total schedule. Without it, I would have pushed harder, and it was only after passing the halfway point of the schedule that I realized how insane back-to-back marathons are. The day after, I think, is more telling than how you felt right after the race. And in this case, the 6 days remaining before the New York City Marathon, where that was at telling trial time. So instead of driving straight home, we stopped in Baltimore for a remote work day. I had managed to pull this off without taking time off of work, and I'm still not sure that's a good idea. But I do remember stepping out for breakfast in the hotel and realizing how much of a hit my body had actually taken. My left ankle was way worse than I was ever comfortable with. Like, even walking, it ached, and it was weaker. So maybe it was the shoes or the schedule that added up to be too much, but either way, the problem was already there for me. So at this point in the schedule, I had a week left, and I had a decision to make: recover, pop and defer and miss New York, or adapt and keep going. And this isn't a suffer challenge. One of my goals in this challenge was simple: enjoy the bib and don't get injured. But when you're standing there with that towel in your hand and the clock is going, how do you really make that call? I say this video is long enough, and what happens next is really going to tell. It's the 6 days building into the New York City Marathon. It's going to answer that. So, say bye.